Companies are buying very critical cancer drugs that are in short supply. And what they're doing is they're selling it to hospitals at a marked up price. And they're marking it up between 560 to 4,000%.
Geez, Lord mercy. Now, so, of course, you wonder, how do they do this, and what is the conditions under which it's allowed? So
there are a lot of details to this story. For one, these are very rare generic medications for cancer that pharmaceutical companies and manufacturers no longer make. Now, why are they no longer making these drugs? It's because they are no longer profitable. Before the Bush administration, what would happen is hospitals would purchase drugs, and they would purchase these drugs at wholesale prices. However, they would then bill the government and claim that they purchased these drugs at regular prices, and the government would have to pay these hospitals back, and the hospitals would make money off of it. Well, the Bush administration was like, we can't have this. This isn't something that you can do anymore. So what he would do is he passed a law that would allow hospitals to bill the government at the average price of these medications plus 6% of whatever the price of that medication is, right? So hospitals were saying, all right, so instead of buying the generic version of these drugs, we are going to buy the most expensive version because they are the most profitable. We're going to make more off of those drugs. So in the end, manufacturers are like, we're not going to manufacture these generic drugs anymore because no one's purchasing them. So now these generic drugs are very rare, and these companies are swooping them up and selling them to hospitals at marked up prices.
Okay, so understand what happened here. Number one, in this story, Bush is the good guy.
He is.
He's saying, hey, wait a minute, now you're needlessly charging people way too much. I'm going to try to figure out a way to get around that, right? And to stop that from happening. Number two, the hospitals are the massively bad guys, okay? Why? First of all, they were buying at wholesale and charging at retail in the first place, taking about $1.6 billion in extra profits. Now, that's profits directly that they got from you that they didn't need to get from you, okay? You didn't need to pay that extra amount, but they wanted a profit, so they just took it, okay? So once they get stopped on that, they say, well, all right, if I'm not going to make a profit on that, then I'm going to turn around, even though it would cost my customers, my clients, my patients, so much less money to buy the generic drugs, which works just as well. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make them buy. I'm going to suggest that they buy the much more expensive prescription drugs. I mean, what happened to the idea that the hospitals were supposed and the doctors were supposed to look out for us?
I know, it's really depressing because these are the most vulnerable people. These are people who are suffering from cancer. A lot of them do not have the means to pay for the non-generic version of these drugs, but now they are forced to pay for the non-generic version of these drugs because the manufacturers are no longer making the generic versions. They're in short supply.
So then once they're in short supply, we get screwed again when these guys who are in this, what they call a gray market, go and swoop up all those drugs and then mark them up nearly, in some cases, 4,000%. So you're damned if you go with the non-generic version, and you're damned if you go with the generic version, which used to be cheap, but now is even more expensive.
It's so depressing, especially when you think that people would have it at least be good-natured enough to want to help people when it comes to their lives and to their health and their well-being. But no, you're right. Everything does have to do with profit. And there's another example of me being naive. You got to keep it real. People are only looking for their own profit and their own money. So
that's what I understand. Look, but I guess one answer to that is that I don't think you're going to, get rid of the profit motive, and I don't think that's the right way to do it. It's still a good way to motivate drug companies to come up with cures and look, the things that alleviate your pain or whatever it might be in the short term are also important, right? But it does give an argument for giving more money to colleges and to do research on cures. So there's a mess regarding that as well. There's a lot of weird incentives, yada, yada, yada. But at least that's an institution you hope is not concerned about making a profit and hence would care more about getting a cure.